Okay, what we have today, I think, is a very pivotal kind of. Want to see what the decision is of who's going to win this battle. So I think it happens pretty much within this candle because if it breaks these highs, you then have a lower high from here. So, excuse me, a higher low. So you see, I'm just going to move this around. You have this low, and then you got a higher low from there, and move up, and then we could break down. Now, if it breaks below this and closes, again, it's all about the close versus what's happening just intraday, especially for this time frame, the daily. I feel that that would show that this again is a lower high from here. So you see it's a lower high continuing to the downside because you see there's relative weakness so far. So it has a major indecision, but again, I want to see what happens, um, who basically wins. And again, I'm trading this stuff intraday, but excuse me, as far as the swing trade goes, I mean, it would be more of it would be a less risky type of trade if you had this. You're risking what, $1.15 or something. Either way, if you just use if you break of this high and you would use this low, and then if it broke down below, which some people might have taken that today, and they're kind of like either they're rolling or stop down, or they just leave it where it is because again, you didn't risk much because you have it's about $1 risk and stuff like that. So volume, you see that's dying down for the bull side, but then it's also low as well here. But is it low and going to start moving down and then increasing? Again, we wanted to see the volume, and people say they don't look at volume, or again because things have changed, people will look at option volume. Well, there's nothing wrong with. I'm not a person that's going to tell you what somebody else does is wrong versus what I do. I just don't do that. But that does not mean it's wrong at all. That just means maybe I just need to learn about it. But again, because there's a lot of, there's a different, when you had like the Wyckoff stuff that was looking at the volume, there wasn't any options available, I don't think, or it probably wasn't as widely used as it is today. I mean, you find people that want to trade options before they even learn how to trade, which usually I tell people to take a step back, learn to trade, learn to look at the charts, then you use the options because the options is for leverage. It's actually you leveraging 100 shares per contract, and with that becomes responsibility. So again, don't rush into options. Learn how to trade, and then options can be used as a vehicle to gain some leverage. So we have this light volume here, selling volume. So we could say, okay, the selling volume has decreased, but also the buying volume has decreased. So then you're at no man's land. So we kind of want to see how this one plays out. So again, I'm saying if it breaks and closes up above, you have your high low, it breaks down, then you got your lower highs. So, it might mean that you just shit. If you don't like the way it looks, you don't trade. There's nothing wrong with that. QQQ. QQQ is almost the same kind of thing as saying, listen, if it breaks below here, you have this, it would be a lower high from here if it continues to break down. Again, this is indecision. So we break this down into like a 30-minute. You could just see that it's pretty much just sideways, broke down a little bit, then broke down a little bit more, and then came back up. I mean, the open is basically right around here or around here. So it really didn't do much today. So indecision candle means just that, indecision, and we want to see where it goes. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, and it should be the same song and dance for the other index as well. Again, you see that we have this break of this trend line, and if it comes and gives us a higher low and breaks above, then that means that we can rip to the upside. But then if it breaks down below, same story. This is a huge gap regarding just you see that separation that I'm talking about with the higher low, excuse me, lower high. That's a lot of space. So if it breaks down below, um, yeah, if it breaks down below, it just does it has a lot of space to go before it really convinces me. And again, I'm talking about this area, this 168 area, 168 and a half area, before I would really start saying like, wow, it looks promising. But again, this could be a low risk trade for some of you guys. Um, Apple, Apple coming up to this, I wouldn't even say that this is resistance. You could just see it's tapped at price, but again, tapped it twice, resistance, then breaks up. It wasn't support. So again, it could be if this provides a lower high, then or breaks these lows of this day, then it could be something that you say, okay. And people look at the head and shoulder. I don't look at the whole head and shoulder pattern. People say it could be a head and shoulders forming up for. I'm just looking at the lower high right here. I want to see how the trend shaped up before that. You know, people get so. There's a reason why these are very popular patterns, and I think you got to sometimes take into account that who's pushing that out there. Is it people wanting you to look at this and, you know, trade the breakout so they can fade you on the way down and then push it back up? You know, try to see what you can do to get the lowest risk, higher probability trades as possible. Because again, if you took this breakout, you got squeezed, and what is your stop here? And if you're trading and just even if you're swing trading and you're just using the low of the day, you're going to get stopped out because they could just do minor things to shake you out, and you're pretty much out if you just roll it up to the low. You roll it if it's starting to really capitulate and move like that. Then you could say, okay, I'm going to roll up my stop because I have a huge volume. I see that it can't come back up, and I'll just sell, you know, go in here and kind of just wait for a setup. So you have that. You have Netflix. Again, I had some people in this, some friends of mine. They peeled a lot of it off, and I think they're just waiting because a lot of things, you know, I don't know if they're setting up to be short or not. You see this coming into this pattern gave you, what was it, down about 38. So if it continues, and pretty much your trade would have been the consolidation, and if it breaks down, it might give you 38 to the downside, and that's around here. So right around there, it's coming back to these levels as well. So yeah, it's right around here. So again, we want to see how this one shapes up. A little bit more volume on this one, but again, the price action wasn't much today. So indecision means just stand down, keep your powder dry, and wait until you get a proper setup. Because if you don't get a setup that you like, and you're trading because you're bored or you're trading the chop, most people will lose more money from just choppy price action, including myself. Okay, it just had to be something that I just had to kind of be like, listen, I'm not going to trade this because I would have a, you know, indecision day and be down versus if I just wait and say, you know what, I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything clean. I'll just not trade today until I get a trade setup that I like. So when it does trend, you can then have multiple setups during the day versus shit, I'm not doing anything. It's 12 o'clock or it's 2 o'clock. I haven't had one trade, and then you force one trade, and then you're pissed off because you lose, and then you're like, shit, I lost. Let me try to make it up because it wasn't a trade I should have taken. So okay, I'm down a little bit, and then you take another trade that you're kind of forcing something. Now you have two bad trades, which psychologically it can be very daunting. So just keep that stuff in mind. And again, let's see where the futures are in the morning, because again tonight, you know, they could change. They're you know, these things could be schizophrenic on you real quick, bipolar. So let's see what happens, what the futures look like 8 o'clock in the morning, and we can just kind of go from there. Take care.